to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Our award-winning show is back, and this season promises to be even more exciting than before. What's Up, Doc isn't just a title, it's a call to action for anyone who wants to improve their health and well-being. Join us on this thrilling ride towards better health on WESN Content Capital.
As always, we appreciate you starting your day with us. Let's get into this morning's first conversation.
Is the country's healthcare system more at risk more than ever?
Why it has remained unaddressed for so long.
Political parties get lots of cash, big cash from financiers, and then when they get that now, you can't account for it.
But it's really the specialist nurses who we are in a greater shortfall for.
We can tap into the resources and have them, at least form some mentorship programs.
Highlight our food systems, and which will attract persons from all over the world to come and experience something that actually supports the local economy.
We're lucky that we have a vibrant legal system that allows change to take place, and it's not that matters are just swept under the carpet and discrimination is allowed to be perpetrated.
A lot of people don't know that there were attempts to ban the carnival, suppress the carnival.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm not to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of the
not no.
Let's go to the last part.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
Nah, you don't need to register nothing. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
We believe we defend criminals and we manipulate the law and we exploiting the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
We are tackling the hard-hitting topics, some controversial topics, some topics we sweep under the rug. You don't always have to forgive in a relationship for it to move forward.
If it is you are in a situation where you forgive the person, but to the detriment of yourself, what are you really doing?
It is very uncommon for somebody in the younger age group to have dementia.
Atheists don't not believe.
Is that I can't disprove God, but you also can't prove God, so we kind of have a stalemate.
We'll focus on the woman who's being the victim
parent or the man has been the victim. We exclude the children.
Folks are trying to study the underlying brain mechanism to figure out how does this particular disorder happen in the brain? How is the brain processing this?
Don't worry about AI, worry about humans working with AI.
Are you willing to learn new skills to stay relevant for the future job market? That's the challenge that people are going to struggle with.
Hi, I'm Claudette, radiographer at the radiology departments at the community hospital. We offer high-quality service with state-of-the-art equipment in X-ray, ultrasound, CT, and mammogram. Come, our friendly staff awaits you.
Give us a call at 235-5479.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on WESN and start your wellness journey today.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
My name is Dr. Stephen Carroll, the CEO at Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist, and we are committed to making good private health care affordable.
For all your medical needs, including dental, radiology, laparoscopy, behavioral and mental health, along with many other services, contact us for more information at 235-5479.
Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money. Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
FanZone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas, and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Pastor J, I want to get a tattoo.
You really want
to me. Respond to me how you would respond to me.
The first question I'd ask is why?
Controversial taboo topics.
We get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday.
Like you say,
services, yeah.
we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So here we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh.
Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren.
Do you need treatment for obesity or any related abdominal procedures? The community hospital now offers minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery done by an American-trained, board-certified surgeon with over 20 years' experience. Give us a call at 235-5479 for more information.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
WESN.
Good morning and welcome to AM Prime on WESN. I'm Naomi Macnish. So this morning I am starting off with some quick updates, things that are happening in the news locally and around the world. To begin, the government of Trinidad and Tobago has announced an expansion of the Children's Life Fund. This is a move aimed at increasing life-saving medical treatment for children. This was originally launched in 2010, and the fund was created to assist children under the age of 18. So we have a quick video to look at and then we'll discuss.
The government's first bill laid in the Parliament was passed late on Friday night with amendments. Minister of Health Dr. Lakram Bodo initially proposed 2 amendments to the Act to amend the Children's Life Fund. Clause 3 of the bill was amended by deleting the words life-threatening illnesses and substituting the words life-limiting illnesses. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar said the changes gives more families a chance to access the fund. She shared excerpts of a newspaper article where a father spoke about his child's death as the family did not receive the grant in time.
It took too long for the fund to respond. I was angry and hurted. I didn't expect the ending to be anywhere close to this. I could not talk. It took me a while to accept she was gone. Baby miracle. Mr. Speaker was born January 18. Scans showed she had congenital cyanotic heart disease, along with transposition of great vessels. Cross had described her condition as one where the arteries were on the opposite side of baby miracle's heart.
So health is hope, and when it comes to our children, access to life-saving care is non-negotiable. That was the message from Health Minister Dr. Lakram Bodo as he introduced the Children's Life Fund Amendment Bill 2025, that marking it as the first legislative act by the new UNC administration. So I personally think that that was an incredible move. Dr. Bodo reminded the House that the fund, which was born in 2010 under the then Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, driven by her vision to ensure that no child in Trinidad and Tobago is denied life-saving medical treatment simply because of financial constraints. Now, 15 years later, the amendment aims to expand eligibility, address delays, and give the health minister limited powers of intervention, all in an effort to prevent more tragic stories of children dying while waiting for approval. So I think we ought to just, see how all of this, this act plays out with regard to the health sector, especially when it comes to our children, because it is a sad story when we have or know someone or a child of ours who has been affected by this, especially the approval part. We all know what it is, what we go through with our health sector, waiting for certain things to happen. So we're going to move along. Next up, there was a video that was circulating on social media recently where a man, he was at a museum and he broke a very, very important artifact. So take a look at this video. So that, what he sat on was a very, it was a Van Gogh piece. So if you all don't know who Van Gogh is, that is a very famous artist. And the chair, it was from 1888 is what I'm seeing here. 1888. It was part of an interactive, an immersive exhibit that allowed visitors to engage with the world of the Dutch master, that's Van Gogh. According to reports, the man sat on the fragile reconstruction despite warning signs. And this is something that I was saying from before. I was so sure that there was either a do not sit sign of some sort, because when he sat on the seat, you can clearly see there's a piece of paper resting on the face of the seat. The chair collapsed under his weight, prompting gasp from onlookers and immediate intervention by security. Although in the video it looked as though he and the lady that he was with ran off soon after, hoping, well, at least it looked at that way, hoping that no one saw. The museum officials say the damage was not irreparable, but the incident raises new questions about the fragility of interactive installations and the behavior of some museum goers in the age of, technology, selfies and spectacle, wanting to be a part of something or to say they are a part of something. So that was an interesting video. I honestly think, something like museums, we have to be very careful because these things are timeless. And if it's on display, I know it says that it was an interactive museum, but if the officials know that the chair is fragile, then I would assume there would have been a no sitting sign, because you never know. And so said, so done. All right, so I think that brings us to the half-hour mark. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have an interview for you this morning. So stay with us, we'll be right back.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on WESN and start your wellness journey today.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
Do you need treatment for obesity or any related abdominal procedures? The community hospital now offers minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery done by an American-trained, board-certified surgeon with over 20 years' experience.
Give us a call at 235-5479
for more information.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money? Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
Now you don't need to register nothing. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate
many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and, I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
We believe we defend criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploiting the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm not to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
let's go to the last part.
Our award-winning show is back, and this season promises to be even more exciting than before. What's Up, Doc isn't just a title, it's a call to action for anyone who wants to improve their health and well-being. Join us on this thrilling ride towards better health on WESN Content Capital.
We are tackling the hard-hitting topics, some controversial topics, some topics we sweep under the rug. You don't always have to forgive in a relationship for it to move forward.
If it is you are in a situation where you forgive the person, but to the detriment of yourself, what are you really doing?
It is very uncommon for somebody in the younger age group to have dementia.
Atheists don't not believe.
Is that I can't disprove God, but you also can't prove God, so we cannot have a stalemate.
We'll focus on the woman who's being the victim, or the man who's being the victim. We exclude the children.
Folks are trying to study the underlying brain mechanism to figure out how does this particular disorder happen in the brain? How is the brain processing this?
Don't worry about AI, worry about humans working with AI.
Are you willing to learn new skills to stay relevant for the future job market? That's the challenge that people are going to struggle with.
Welcome back to AM Prime, and I'm joined by Jada. Thank you for joining me, Jada.
Hi, yes, good morning. I'm Jada McLeod.
All right, so we're jumping into our first conversation this morning. We are joined by Curtis Toussaint. He's a passionate advocate for political literacy and a candidate for the position of Education Officer in the People's National Movement.
The role of education officer isn't just an administrative one. It's pivotal to shaping the party's ideological education, internal training, and political engagement. Curtis joins us today to share his motivations, his vision for the role, and what he believes the party and the country needs at this time.
So, and the internal elections is June 22nd. So that's
just now.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Chisant.
Hi, morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. Cherish the opportunity to share with Trinidad and Tobago, about my pursuit of this role and the key responsibility that this means for the People's National Movement.
So I have a question. What's the best thing about Trinidad and Tobago to you? What do you love most about Trinidad and Tobago?
Listen, that's not going to be a short list. That's not. So there's a lot about Trinidad and Tobago that I love. Even from and I think we really have to have an appreciation for how beautiful Trinidad is just in terms of the physical landscape. We have a lot of greenery. It's something that I've heard people comment on, particularly seafarers, as they're coming into the Gulf of Paria. They say when they're coming in and they look at all the lush green hills, particularly at the time of year, you may see the different pui colors. So the actual natural landscape that is Trinidad and Tobago, so rich, so diverse, so unique when you think about our Pitch Lake and some of our other naturally occurring sites. I think that really stands out, and that may come only second to our people in terms of the mix that we have, and it stands out because I've been to other parts of the world, and sometimes even without speaking, people are like, "You're from the West Indies, but where?" There's something about it. There's something about us, and then when we start to speak, people just fall in love with us.
Yes, for real.
So,
well, the speech, the cooking, the dancing, it's the way in which we move. People tend to fall in love.
I think what I don't like about Trinidad is a much shorter list.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah, than what I like or love about Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So tell me, the role of education officer, what exactly does that mean within the internal executive of the PNM?
So I'd like to start by saying that education is something that is enshrined in the PNM's DNA. If we think about the founding father, Dr. Eric Williams, and the initial group of Trinidadians who actually followed him towards the formation of the PNM, education was a main drive and focus on their activities. They were already working to educate what would have been a pre-independence population. And so that thread runs throughout. You see it very clearly in the aims and objectives of the party, where paragraph 3 says the PNM is geared to develop an educated democracy where people can take part actively in public life and they're not ignorant of political affairs, and that the training should be reflective of that, but also include some practical training. So it is a very, very significant function in and of itself, but I think too, based on where the party's at, now being in opposition, having suffered the loss that we did, and all of the permutations that have come out of that, in terms of the party not being in touch, in terms of leaders not listening, education is very, very critical along that spectrum in terms of how do we treat with those things. And so the role of the education officer would be to see that the party has political education or the education activities rolls out throughout all constituencies so that all members have access to the information, and not just historic, but even as the Constitution says, political education, which will be historic in some parts, because we have to know who we are, where we've come from, but also the practical knowledge. Do we understand things about civic education? Do we understand what it means to be a Trinidadian, what it means to be a PNM in Trinidad, and the party's contribution? But also, we have to educate people along the lines of how can I actively participate outside of the election cycles, their responsibilities of party members. And if we don't make them aware of their responsibility, they can't take up their rightful place in terms of the functioning of the party. Education also is not one-directional. Anybody who's taught or who's lectured understands that when I stand in front of a group of learners, I'm also receiving from them. And so within the confines of the PNM as an institution, education is a very critical point of feedback. where we share information but also receive information from the learners or the participants about things that they would like to see or things more that they would like to know about the party.
So you reach the MPs first, and then the MPs are able to pool like a set of knowledge to share to the constituencies. How does that work?
No, the knowledge base of the PNM is very broad. So when you think about what we may already have captured as an organization, and then you have some of the stalwarts who we still have, who have a lot of rich history and information, is turning that or translating some of that would be one of my responsibilities from what is an intangible in terms of the stories and the oral traditions. Everybody has a PNM story. But how do we translate that into a curriculum per se, so that people understand that the stories are captured for future generations. So those are some of the critical things. Ensuring that it is happening throughout all constituencies, seeing the organization transform into a learning organization, one that is relevant, transparent, accountable. All of the things that we've heard members of the public and members of the party saying, we feel as if the party stopped listening, and part of that is because we haven't really been reaching out through our education machinery to get the feedback and to ensure that people actually understand what is happening at this time in the party's life.
So that is such an interesting start to our conversation. We are just going to take a short break and we'll be right back with you. Stay with us.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on WESN and start your wellness journey today.
I am Dr. Delphina Ovid, your friendly neighborhood dentist. At Community Hospital Dental Clinic, we offer examinations which include x-rays, basic oral cancer screening, and a treatment plan. We also offer cleanings, fillings, extractions, root canal treatment, and complete and partial dentures. Remember, you don't have to brush and floss all your teeth, just the ones you want to keep.
Give us a call at 235-5479.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity, from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm nothing to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break a balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of the game.
not no.
Let's go to the last part.
And we are back. We're speaking with Mr. Curtis Toussaint. He is one of the independent candidates contesting the PNM internal elections for the role of education officer. So we would have spoken a little bit beforehand. You were telling us about the importance of the role, or what is the role in its entirety. But can you tell me, why are you the best person for that role? What's your background?
So I have 20 years of leadership experience across a couple of very key sectors. So I have some involvement in energy-related activities, education, which includes adult education, but it runs the full gamut. So from early childhood all the way up to tertiary, some levels of experience in terms of facilitating training and development, particularly for organizational productivity, which has been a key area of research for me, and corporate social responsibility. So I think that having that amount or that number of years of leadership experience, which include activities in terms of human capacity development, which education is at its root, marrying those things to the role and my own political involvement, which spans more than 10 years as well, I've been able to understand somewhat the party, understand what are some of those critical gaps in terms of what the education machinery can deliver but fail to deliver.
Can you speak to that now?
Well, I can, I mean, very briefly, because in my 10 years that I've been in the party, I myself have not been exposed in a very structured sense to PNM education. The party has what is referred to as party school, where that political education is supposed to be happening. And while you hear whispers of it, I haven't seen that formal structured approach to rolling out education across all 41 constituencies. So for me, it is more of the absence of it is what I would have experienced over the past 10 years. And now I think it is very critical that we have a re-emergence. I know within my own network, a lot more people have become interested in politics and more interested in PNM politics. The challenge is that we have a lot of supporters who have not made that transition to now become members. So political education is key in terms of ensuring that people understand what it means to be a member of the party and what are their roles and functions and where they can serve, so that it's not only support when we have major events such as an election, but also that consistent work of the party to really just continue to share our message that the PNM is the best vehicle for governance in Trinidad and Tobago.
What would you say are the biggest gaps in political education within the party?
Well, I think the biggest gap would be the lack of research and feedback coming from the party groups across the country. While political education is going to primarily focus on adult education, we have people who are at different stages in terms of their own development. And how do we know where these people are in terms of constituency? And even within a constituency, you may have people who are on different stages of their own life journey, but everybody can learn. So even if we have adults who may not be literate, and again, the other arms of the party come into play here, while a welfare officer or even the education officer at the local level, constituency level, can direct these people to programs where they can learn to read, we learn to speak, and we learn so much before we can actually read. So there's still a way that we can design education that reaches everybody, but we have to understand what are the different subsets of learners that we have within the party structure, and we tailor messaging and training programs that meet each and every one at the point that they're at. And it is only in that appropriate dissemination of information, something that is structured, something that sees people going from stage 1 to stage 2, so even they can track their own development and see how far along they've come in their own education journey within the party structure, that it could truly become meaningful meaningful. But it first has to start with us understanding who are these members, what their needs are, which is why my approach will be very hands-on, reaching out to the constituencies, meeting with constituency executives, meeting with education officers from the various constituencies to just get a sense of where things are at. I've spoken about my own experience and my own lack of exposure because it hasn't been structured. So a lot of that journey has been very independent and depending on people who are in the know. But that's my journey. I may find that in some other constituency there has been a lot of work done, but there's still some work to do. So it's really understanding, for me, coming into the role, it would really be understanding where the different constituencies are at and what the training needs may be. That seems to be the major gap, just not even knowing where we're at, where the education aspect is.
So you're going in as an independent, but have you faced any sort of resistance for not aligning with any sort of slate or any sort of team? And how have you navigated that?
Directly, no. Again, there are lots of messages out there as it relates to, independence, different slates. I saw a message as recently as yesterday that says, you have independence or people pretending to be independents, but they're really part of. Again, it didn't fall in my garden, so I didn't pay any attention to it. I am truly an independent candidate. No real negative feedback in terms of my candidacy, but the support has been good. People have called, people have reached out, people have pledged their support, and that is largely because some of those people have been exposed to Curtis Touset as a trainer, as a strategic planning facilitator. So they've seen what Curtis can do or how I can bring some of my own knowledge to bear on party members.
Your campaign slogan, learning today, leading tomorrow, what does that mean in the context of party politics?
Well, I want to piggyback on some of the public sentiments that have been shared by the opposition leader and soon to be political leader, where she clearly states that officers fell down on the job. And in some other sentiments that have been shared is that the party has lost its way. Education is a beacon, and if we have well-established education material or an education approach, that is the guiding post. The policies and principles of the party will be shared widely, and everyone will be able to understand where the party is at and the direction that we're taking. That disconnect, because as I said before, education puts you in front of, as a facilitator, as a trainer, you're in front of 30, 40 people, or maybe even a smaller group, but there's rich feedback coming from there. That feedback through the education machinery makes its way back to the executive. And so you have a real sense of what is the sentiment. So I believe only when we learn to do those things, only when we become what I call a learning organization, can we truly lead. We are in the position where we can take stock of that and begin learning today who we are as individuals, but also as an executive and as a party leadership, learning what our members want. And it is only when we learn and understand what they want can we lead them effectively. So it's really a call for us to stop, particularly along the lines of education, stop and take stock of where we are, what we've done well, what we have not done at all, and try new approaches in terms of how we learn and grow as a party. And it is only with the successful completion of learning and the continued learning can we adequately lead the people that follow.
I saw you would have mentioned being committed to launching PNM Ed, online learning hub of some sort, right? So can you explain what that platform would look like and how would members benefit from it? Just give us an example of what it would, what would it be?
Sure. So PNM Ed is really a name that, and again, the name may change depending on the feedback that comes from the membership. But if you think about edX, or if you think about Coursera, where there is self-paced learning that is actually happening, I envision creating a platform where members can register, via their email address, phone number, name. You know, we capture some of that information and create accounts. There will be lessons and information that is already available on the platform that allows people to go in and educate themselves. Let's suppose you have something on the party's history that may be broken up into 3 modules or 3 distinct learning phases. You go from phase 1, and once you successfully complete that, it allows you to go on to phase 2 and to phase 3. We have a whole cross-section of young people where that digital education environment is their norm. Yeah. And so you have to create opportunities where people learn comfortably. Again, understanding where we are at, who needs what. But the interest of young people now, particularly in politics, coming out of the period that we just had as a party, we can take advantage of that by establishing PNM Ed, which really is a learning management. It will take the learning management software approach, almost like Moodle or Google Classroom, any one of those things where you have the online learning resources. So that is a key part of my vision for what PNM education would look like. Online training, which is self-paced, occasionally even when we have lectures, maybe having lectures hosted on the learning management software, so people could go in. If they could not attend, they could go in afterwards and still benefit from the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
So would that entail only PNM knowledge, or what knowledge would be on the base?
Well, and that is the beauty of, particularly of the online environment. While there will be areas for public access, the thrust of the PNM's education machinery is for the members. So there will be areas, of course, where we as a party want to be able to keep track of how our membership is actually availing themselves of the information, because that feedback is critical to redesigning or redeploying the learning if it's not gaining traction. So it is something that is really measurable in terms of how many people are voluntarily or of their own will accessing the information that's there. Certainly, in the areas that will have public access, there will be the opportunity for people to learn more about the party, because a significant part of the PNM's history is also national history, and so that will be made available publicly. But there will be member areas where people will be required to log in. Members will be required to log in order to access specific information about the party.
Mm-hmm. What role do you believe that political education or the party education plays in strengthening the party's unity? Because I know a lot of the discussions recently coming out of the general election is that the PNM has been divided. Mm-hmm. So do you think that, you know, so and not even just in party unity, but for national leadership?
Sure. Education is empowering, and an empowered membership leads to a powerful party. That power comes from a sense of unity. So, and unity does not have to mean agreeing with everything every time. So as it is, I could say categorically that I support the opposition leader, soon to be political leader, but at the same time I could say I don't support a slate. Different and apart. And so when we empower people with education, they understand that education gives you options and options to choose. And having the education within the party, it tells people, okay, I don't have to go along. While I agree with the principles and values of the party, I just don't see a particular approach aligning with what I believe the party needs. And so that's very, very important as we get to rally people around. So that unification of the party does not only have to come from does not come necessarily from agreeing with everything that's happening. We are unified around the values, policies, and principles of the party. How that fleshes out itself in terms of actions, we may disagree. But I think that is critically where most people will. So even if you talk about that disconnect or the lack of unity, while that may have been articulated, nobody was saying, I don't want my party to win. So how do we now move from the point of, and education again, party education is critical. How did those people, or did those people who felt that sense of disunity, how were they able to represent their issue? outside of social media, outside of one-on-one conversations, who was writing to the General Secretary, who was writing to the chairman, who was reporting back even within their constituency structure that they were in disagreement with things that were happening. And empowering people to be able to protest, or empowering people to be able to voice the fact that there was a difference of opinion is very, very critical.
I think it's empowering as well.
It is. It is. You have to, education gives you a voice. If you're not educated on the issues or the facts, your ability to formulate an opinion and communicate it is jeopardized. And so, but also, a learning organization has that culture of listening, transparency, and transparency says, this is where we're at, this is how we got here, and we acknowledge it. But we also have to acknowledge that there were other approaches that could have been taken that may have brought about a different result. It doesn't make you less of a person to do that. And the PNM is by no means less of a party because of where we're at. But certainly it puts us on the right footing to grow and to become a much stronger unit and a much stronger organization in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do you stand out amongst your competitors?
Oh, I think for sure the blend of industry knowledge. As I said, I just shared a couple, particularly those that deal with education, but I have experience in publishing. I wrote my first book, which deals with organizational productivity in 2018. It's called What Nobody Says About Work. And so having worked with different organizations or different types of organizations, I have a very good sense of different techniques that can be deployed. Also my own experience working and supporting some technology companies. It also gave me a lot of the experience as required to develop a really impactful learning management system. So we can do the virtual, we can do the in-person, we can have invited guests. It is really the 20 years of human development work, corporate social responsibility work, which helps you understand stakeholders and stakeholder interests. All of those things are what I would be bringing to bear on this role, which definitely sets me apart from any of the competitors.
So what do you want members of the PNM to think about when they see your name on a ballot? If you could just give me 3 words that you want to associate yourself with.
So 3 words I'd want to associate myself with. Certainly the commitment to the party, which has been demonstrated over more than 10 years. So when you see Curtis Touset, think about commitment. When you see Curtis Touset, think about the ability to use technology to deliver education and learning, but also see Curtis Touset as somebody who is a transformative leader, willing and ready to help the PNM become a learning organization, one that listens, one that is reflective, one that is transparent, and one that is keen on the development of its members.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
It was beautiful having you and having this discussion, because if it's something I didn't know, that, I mean, education officer within the PNM was even something that we had to know about.
Yeah.
You know, we just thought that that's something internal. I don't know, what do I have to know about that? But learning about it, knowing the actual role, where it comes from and how it reaches me, is very important.
It is.
Does this role, would this role benefit the public, and not just within the party, but?
Sure. So many of the things that we've done before, think about it. Political parties, while you have a membership, you can't operate in a vacuum, which is why you have the public meetings, which is why you have the social media, the press briefs. And of course, as I said, once we make these seminars, workshops, even the learning management system, they will be available in some part to people who are not members of the party. Added to the fact, and I mentioned it earlier, added to the fact that a rich part of the PNM's history is also national history. There's a direct correlation between how well the PNM's education machinery is, as opposed to, a direct correlation between how effective our PNM education machinery is and how much the general public knows and understands not only about the party, but about our democracy. How was it formed? Who were some of the early fighters and contributors to PNM's success, both as an independent nation and as a young republic? So the PNM story is indeed a Trinidad and Tobago story, and in that way we cannot disconnect the general public from our education machinery.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that's really important. But what we're going to do is we're just going to wrap up. Thank you so much, Mr. Gates Tucson, for coming on and teaching us a little thing.
Sure, I appreciate it. Invite me back anytime.
Yes, it was beautiful having you on. Have a beautiful day. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with you because it is Wild Wednesday. So stay with us.
My name is Dr. Joanne Williams-Carroll, and I am the Director of Behavioral and Mental Health at the Community Hospital. At the Community Hospital, we believe in nurturing mind, body, and soul. Through our counseling and chaplaincy program, we will provide you with support and strength you need to help with your mental and emotional well-being. Give us a call.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
Struggling with heart health or frequent migraines? Discover the simple steps to reclaim your energy and vitality.
We're diving into a topic that affects about 422 million people around the world: diabetes.
Tune into Wellness Unlocked, the series that delivers expert advice, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your health and well-being. Your health matters. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on WESN and take the first step toward better health.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios, but they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
Now you don't need to register nothing. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
They believe we defend criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploiting the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
all know what it is. It is Wild Wednesdays.
You know what I always have to say? I love the bumper.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's too nice. So as always, of course, we are joined by none other than Mr. Ricardo Mead from the El Socorro Center for Wildlife Conservation. I finally got it.
Mr. Mead, how are you doing this morning?
I am tired, but I'm doing great. I made it through the weather. Thus far, it's okay. So I'm first stop right here, and I'm really happy to be here, high and dry thus far. But let's see what the rest of the day brings, because there's dogs, there's cats, there's fleas, there's all sort of stuff dropping from the sky out there. It's a rough one out there, folks. So if you haven't left home yet, prepare yourself. Take 3 umbrellas, one for either side of your head and one for your feet, because it's bad. It's coming at you in all directions. But as wild as the weather is, we're still in here, and we're doing our wildness as usual on a Wednesday.
So we heard from you, but of course the camera now, viewers can see that we have a little someone in studio with us.
It looks like our friend has an afro.
So how are you doing today?
The first thing I want to know is, what is its name?
Well, he doesn't have a name per se, but his species, he is a spectacled owl. Spectacled owl, and he's a juvenile. Very easy to tell the juvenile, because spectacled owls are brown when they're adults. So if you ever look up spectacled owl, you'll see, wait a minute, it looks different from this. Yes, this is a juvenile. So he doesn't even have feathers on his head yet. That's down. That downy stuff. No, you're not going to be jumping off and going anywhere. He's going to try now. All right, he's going to try to jump off. There we go. Stay on the glove. Well, the makeshift glove, right? So yes, so he doesn't even have feathers on his head. That's just down that he was pretty much had as a little hatchling. And when he becomes an adult, he's in transition, so he has absolutely lovely wing feathers. And the wing feathers represent his final color, that sort of brown. So that down would mold out, and his feathers would come in, and he would be, when he is an adult, the largest neotropical owl that there is in the world, and the most powerful. It's quite a powerful animal that he will take down other owls, other birds, and even small rodents he can handle quite easily. He has very powerful talons. Hence the reason I have this thing wrapped on my arm, because in my haste, I forgot my glove. You know, and sometimes you think, oh, it's just a baby. Yeah, but this is a baby monster. So even if he doesn't want to hurt me, his talons just from standing up are quite powerful, quite sharp. So I have to protect my arms with this cloth as he just sort of sits. Let me see if we get him to look forward.
So where would we, I just want to point out though, he smells very wild.
Oh yeah.
Like the jungle.
So bad.
And I think where that comes from is that you can see at the end of his feathers, there's a substance.
Yeah, he has to be restricted. So he was found Canupia area by a park. The residents say it was a group chat, and they all, like 6 of them, this is really impressive, of 6 different people from that area communicated with me about this owl that they saw down. Apparently somebody even got to it before, and they sprayed some spray in it, because it does have an injury on its wing. Yeah, he thinks he can fly. That's why we have to restrict him. Because of that injury on the wing, we're restricting it. He's not going to go anywhere. It's been a little funky. Remember, he eats meat. So
he just pooped.
He pooped?
He just
really?
pooped, yeah.
He just pooped. He just pooped. Okay, there we go. All right, that's all part of it. What goes in must come out. Okay, and it's not usually in the same form. Okay, that's all right. Sweetened goat mouth. You know that quote? We'll explore that coming down later. It's actually a calypso about that. I think it was by Penguin. What's sweetened goat mouth? Yeah, in the poop. Yeah, so you see why he gets that effect. Yeah, so unfortunately for him, he has to be restricted so he doesn't try to use his wing, which there's a cut. It had maggots in it. We got that cleared up, but we believe he also has a dislocated wrist. So he doesn't have flight, but he needs cage rest. He needs to be very much restricted in order to heal. And having him in a confined space means that he's eating there and he's pooping there. And with his wings being a bit droopy, he drags it in the poop. So we have to, well, But this is part of it there, and a lot of people, this is why we tell people, leave this to the professionals, okay? I mean, if you try to keep this in your house, your mother, your wife, your girlfriend, your spouse, whoever, it's going to put you out.
Yeah.
The smell is pungent.
Oh, yeah.
You are a spooky individual.
So where are we most likely to find this type of owl?
Well, literally all over Trinidad. Once you live near the edge of a wooded area, you're going to find it. So let's look at areas that we consider Arima, Santa Cruz, areas of San Fernando, Cunupia. Once there is bush, forest, trees behind you, you find Maracas St. Joseph. We've got most of them from Maracas St. Joseph because they tend to nest. They don't build a nest, they're cavity dwellers, but they nest per se in the large salmon trees that have those big holes and cavities in there. So they would go in there and lay, and then a lot of times at this stage, the babies would sort of literally fall out of the trees. And then people would find them on the ground. And getting them back into that cavity is near impossible. So we would have to raise them and then go back and release them into the areas that they were found, so that we keep this population. This is, I mean, the world goes crazy over this owl. When it's an adult, you know, people can look it up, the adult spectacled owl, it looks amazing. It looks like it's wearing some cool glasses, and it has these yellow eyes that just sort of pierce you when he looks right at you. Right now, you're just thinking, can I eat that one? Because he's a bit hungry right now. But yeah, they are. It's just an amazing creature to encounter, and their power. You know, he has a little bit of weight on my arm too, so I'm kind of supporting my arm, but the power of the talons just sitting there through the cloth onto my hand just gives you an idea of the killing force that this animal is able to employ, killing rats, large rats easily. He can easily take down a 2 kg rat and just maul it, rip it apart and eat it. And also you would see when they do the nest cams, the parents bringing back quite large rodents and other animals, and they just rip them apart and feed them to these babies. So these are one of our 8 absolutely confirmed, possibly 9 species of owls in Trinidad. And now it has been confirmed that Trinidad is officially on 499.
What?
499.
499
different species of birds, totally confirmed here in Trinidad. So we have one more to hit, 500. And that's an amazing milestone. And I'm going to encourage everybody to encourage the government to mark that with a $500 bill. I tired of carrying around all this set of blue notes in my pocket there, and you know, before you know it, you have to get more and more and more. So even if it's just for the ceremonial, you know how they have the commemorative. You have commemorative coins and notes and so on. You have a commemorative note or coin for the 500 species of bird identified right here in Trinidad and Tobago.
That's very important.
Yes.
It's a mark.
Because that money is about making money. Because with that, and you're telling the world, we have 500 species of birds here. You know how many people are going to come here to see birds? Because we're so tiny, you can just move around this island and birds are birds and birds. Whereas 7,000 islands in the Caribbean have 250 species of birds.
Collectively?
Collectively. 7,000 islands that don't include Trinidad and Tobago have 250 species of birds. Trinidad and Tobago and our little islands offshore, 500 or 499 right now to be official. 500 is soon to come. I expect that before the end of this year that we're going to hit 500. And we need everybody to know this. We need everybody to understand this, because that is a way for a lot of people to earn a good living, earn foreign exchange, which is something we need. Put Trinidad and Tobago on the top of the world list of this is the place to go to see wildlife and biodiversity. Trinidad and Tobago, you're next stop.
You want to see what's up? Come on.
So I just want to ask, you know, you're saying that this is a baby spectacled owl, right? So when this owl, what would you say is his age? How long has he hatched? You know, because he's big, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's just under about 7 or 8 months. Based on our experience with them from before, he's under 7 or 8 months right now, or just about. The best he will be is in probably 9 months. And I'm saying this because I'm noting the transformation on his chest. They have very strange feathers on the chest. They're very long. It's almost like fur on a shaggy dog. And then, of course, the head there, not a single dot of brown on the head so far. It's lily white. And that tells me it hasn't reached that year mark yet where it starts that sort of transformation to become an adult.
So it takes a full year in order?
It takes a couple of years for it to get to the full adult plumage.
And how long to get to this size?
They get to the size quickly. Within 3-4 months, they get to the size. That's one thing with birds, especially birds of prey. They get to their full-grown size fairly quickly, and then they sort of just develop the other features and so on.
Yeah. So we actually we have a picture of an adult spectacled owl.
There you go.
Yeah, so we can see the comparison.
That's what you're gonna look like.
Yep. Hey, that looks like one of my birds.
Yeah.
Charlo. That looks like Charlo. Yeah, one of our birds that we had before, and it's such an amazing thing to go anywhere, driving at night and see one of these guys either perched or just fly by. These guys are literally the king of owls. If you're talking about owls, this is who you have to talk about. Mr. Spectacled Owl right here.
He blinks like one eye at a time.
Yeah, they have amazing control over their eyes and their pupils, and that can throw you off a bit because you're accustomed to non-consensual response with light and so on, but they're amazing. So the light is a little bit dull in here for that's facing him, so he has a sort of normal look. But if you shine a bright light in there, that thing is going to get so tiny, it looks like he has almost no pupils in there at all.
If you were to turn him towards the light,
his lashes are beautiful.
Well, the next one that we will bring in, get an opportunity. Don't look at me, look at forward. That's the next thing with them. It is very difficult to get an owl to do what you want because they have the ability to turn their heads 270 degrees. So I'm turning his body forward, and he's still looking, staring at me in the eye. So maybe if you make a distraction to my right or something, he may, put your hand out or something. No, he's like, no, I'm going to kill this guy. Yeah, give him a touch. And he may respond. He's like, no, I'm going to kill this guy. Yeah, he's focused. This is what you call focused. If you have a focus of an owl, you're good. Yeah, right? So then, since he doesn't want to go that way, see, now if I want to turn him this way, he's still going to turn. Okay.
I'm not bracing because I'm scared. I'm bracing because it's stuff falling from it.
Right. So, yeah, so he's quite, and of course, we are not training this bird. The most we'll do is glove training to make ease of handling, examinations and stuff like that there, but the owl will be allowed to go back into the wild. So we have to keep him, and it's good that he really doesn't like me, that's all right. That's one thing you accept as a wildlife rehabilitator. It's not cuddle, cute time, cutesy, touch, no. They have to be who they are and express themselves as wild animals, because if they can't do that, they will die. They will certainly die. They will go to someone, there we go again, they'll die there. They will go to someone who doesn't like them. Okay, if you stand there, that'll be fine. Right? And yeah, so he's like, yeah, all that is
what's up?
all well and good, yeah. And the clicking of the beak that scares people, that's him just using his beak. That's his defensive measure saying, hey, I'm big, I'm bad, leave me alone. Right? So that beak clicks out there.
It's a very, it sounds a bit soft, but it sounds powerful.
Yeah. Very, very clicky, especially when you're close proximity to like in an enclosure.
Yeah.
That click sort of echoes. It just says, leave me alone, leave me alone.
And now his beak is open. He just looks like if a Trini is looking at you like.
Yeah. That's
what it is.
That's his badge on pose.
Yes,
right.
He looks
his badge
like
on pose telling me,
He looks
leave me alone.
y'all serious right now. Y'all really holding me down.
Right.
Y'all don't know who I am.
Yeah, he will suck down 7 mice at a time without blinking. You just, give him out, you just literally throw his head back, suck that mice down, and look for the next and the next. They have quite an appetite. So understanding that rate of consumption, 7 mice a day, 7 days a week, that's 49 a week, just about. If you round it up to 50 and multiply that by 52, that's a lot of pest control. And that's how important these creatures are. So again, we never asked you to like the animals. No animal I brought on this program, or that we haven't tried that, I'm saying you should like it. But you need to respect it and understand what they do for the environment and save you. So especially now, it's a rainy season. Everywhere is water everywhere. Places are getting waterlogged. Your little friends, the rodents, rattus, the Norwegian rats, the mice, they're on the move. And a nice dry place for many of them is in your house, on your kitchen counter, in your cupboard, under your washing machine, and so on and so forth. So they're invading your house now. They're invading your homes, even if you don't even see them. Many people don't even see them. I don't have rats by me, really. Let's shine that light on the counter and you see the urine. Let's look behind the washing machine and you see the fecal matter. And that brings with it disease, namely one big one, leptospirosis. And that kills way more people. No owl has ever killed a person in Trinidad and Tobago. You might dead from fright, but no owl has ever killed a person in Trinidad and Tobago.
Is the spectacled owl indigenous to Trinidad?
Yes, it is a native bird here. It's not endemic, it's found in South America also, and a lot of the other neotropical, you know, literally from Mexico, come all the way down to Argentina, you can find this owl. But no other Caribbean island has this bird. Okay, and again,
and
when
you said it's one of, is it one of, or
one
is
of
it the
8
biggest owl?
Well, it is the largest owl.
Okay.
South of North America. So the neotropics from Mexico go down, it's the largest owl we have. In America, they have a couple larger owls, like the barred owl and so on like that. Those guys are bad and big.
Those are the owls that we can see in, there's a movie called Guardians.
Well, the one from Guardians is, I think you brought him on here already. One from Guardians is a barn owl, Tyto alba. Barn owl, that's with the sort of heart-shaped face and beautiful brown, a nice brown, fawn-type brown, almost like your shirt there, and a little white in the space and some speckles and so on like that there. So yeah, we're going to focus a lot on the owls because they're important, they're misunderstood. We have all these sort of nonsensical myths and stuff. When an owl flying, somebody dying, right? So if your great aunt died last night, you'll say, oh my gosh, you know, I see an owl fly over the house. Right?
Trinidadians and Tobagonians, that make no sense. Okay, that doesn't make any sense.
The only person dying when an owl flying is a rat. So if Granny was a rat or Tanty was a rat, then makes sense. But other than that, no. They're flying over your house all the time. It's just last night you happened to see it. Okay? It's just coincidence that the owl flew, you know, and sometimes the exact minute that she breathed her last breath, I see the owl just land on the tree. Okay. Yeah. So what did it do? It sucked the soul out from the distance or something? Okay, these
with its eyes.
Yes, its eyes. Yes, those eyes. Yeah, you know. So, and even if that's the case, be high and happy that Granny, Auntie, whoever it is, on a higher plane, elevated and lifted up. Maybe that's her chariot to the heavens. Look for the positive. We're always negative about these things. Okay, so Trinidad, the first peoples believed that hummingbirds are the ones that bore the spirits of our ancestors. And they come back to visit us and they flutter and they just bring joy. There's no evil, there's no malice, there's nothing bad with regards to hummingbird. Just an opportunity for joy and merriment in your life. As many of the ancestors you could imagine would want for their offspring and their offspring and so on going forward. So hummingbirds were very much revered back then as they should be now. As really all of our birds should be revered and appreciated for what they do. This guy is our workhorse, saving us, our children, our elderly. Those are the ones who are most vulnerable to leptospirosis, and these are the diseases because of compromised or underdeveloped immune systems. So they help us, and in return, we hate on them because of ignorance and just poor and cultural, legacies that we have that's just passed down, and we always like to blame they. Well, that is what they say. How you know that? That is what they say. So who is they? Let's take they to court. Well, no, they can never be summoned to appear in court. But you're listening to them, and your life is being run by what they say. Let's get better than that, people. Let's get smarter than that. And that's why I'll always be thankful for the opportunity through the snow. Well, not snow, but if it had snow, I would have come through the snow too. Snow and rain, to be here with you lovely ladies and the wonderful audience out there who always participate and appreciate. I feel so wonderful when I go somewhere and someone comes up to me and they're tilting their head like that. I know when people start tilting their head, I know what's going on. They're like, I know you're from somewhere, kind of thing. And it's like, yes, the Wild Wednesday, what's that? You know real thing. Yes, I have people below the table with that information. I'm like, well, I'm doing this for quite a while, so I kind of know some of the stuff and thing there, And he said, yes, man, that is real good. Teaching people. I wish more young people could get that program and so on like that there. So I'm tasking WESN with spreading the word, getting out there, getting a bigger audience out there, because what you guys are doing here and having us here now, it's quite a while we've been doing Wild Wednesday, and it's great. If you guys are making the effort, we're going to make the effort. Me and somebody, we're going to show up here, be it in person, like this guy who wants to kill Jada. Look at his eyes. Like
look at him. He's not locking. His eyes are locked on Jada from the start.
He's trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that one. Curry stew. Oh, I'm going to eat that one. You know, so it's just wonderful, the opportunity to have, it's a small window now, but we can expand that window to a door and then a porthole and then a wormhole that literally sucks all of Trinidad into this porthole of learning and education, where they learn and understand. That is a Trini. Look at Trini there.
Oh my goodness.
That is a Trini there. He's a true Trini.
Facial expression.
Yeah, he's like,
extremely expressive.
So if I'm going to Pia, I'm going to call you Pia, just because I want to.
Right.
Hello.
Right. Better than call him Kunumunu. Okay, I'm sorry, it was just a reference here. So, you know, the most judgmental, you know. It's like, I don't find that, you know, And you can imagine with the glasses on over, you know, I don't find that particularly amusing, Mr. Mead.
He looks like that Tootsie Roll ad. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Yeah.
I think that's a spectacle owl. Is it?
Which one is that?
From the ad, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a spectacle owl.
Yeah.
And in the ad, he was wearing a spectacle. So that was...
Because he's wise. But I'll tell you something. Look the other way. Owls are not that smart enough. You know, I'm not sure exactly how they got this role of the wise and, you know, sitting there looking all snooty and I know it all, you know. But really they
Are you a dumb guy?
well, not dumb, it's just their mental capacity matches their need. And so they're very simple.
Maybe that whole owls are so wise and wise as an owl is it's like it's irony. It's some sort of, you know.
It could be. But all the animals, because you know what it is too? They seem to sit, listen, and focus. And in such, you know, somebody who does that, you know, you could climb to the top of the hill and you see somebody sitting and listen and focus. So you get that same aura. That's the aura that they give off. That
they know all, they see all.
I see all, I've observed, and now I am here to depart my knowledge onto all. Okay? So, but yeah, they're tough to train. Tough to train because they're very simple in their approach to life, and they don't think too much outside of their little box. Also, next secret, they have very small brains.
Yet we see them as we said, very wise, very important.
And the reason for their small brains is because you see the size of those eyes?
Yeah.
That's the part that you're seeing. Okay? When you look at it, in human's eye, when you've examined a human skeletal remains, the eye sockets, you see how large that they actually are. Yeah. Okay, so same thing with these guys. They have large eyes because that's what they need to survive. So that's also the reason why they can turn their heads. Their eyes are so large and it takes up so much of their head, and their brain is small, like the size of a peanut. So they do not have space, okay, to have muscles to roll their eyes, right? Like Jada. Jada, if it's one woman I know could roll her eye and turn her eye, is Jada. That is quintessential Trini woman day for you, right?
Yeah.
When Jada, can I come on here and Jada do like something, that eye is, oh, no.
Yeah.
And it's go this way, and then that way, and then the up, and then the side eye. Okay?
I'm trying to teach Pia how to roll his eyes.
Oh, well, he can't do that. It will never happen because they don't have any muscles. We have muscles. We can roll our eyes. You know, you go to the optometrist, look up for me, look down. They cannot do that.
So that's where he gets the advantage of being able to rotate his head.
Correct. So they have now the muscles in their neck so they can turn. So they will sit there, and instead of being able to look up and down, the neck will be able to now pan and move. And it does up to 270 degrees. Not all the way. And not only can the neck move to move the head, they have a special valve in their throat that allows, while the head is moving that way, it doesn't lock off the air supply and choke them like if somebody's cracking their neck. It turns and allows a free flow of oxygen so they maintain their normal composure. So that is the anatomy of an owl, and they're all like that. All the owls can allow that breathing, can turn their heads 270 degrees, and have no muscles whatsoever to move their eyes. So they must just literally pan back and forth like a camera, and it works because their eyes need to be big to allow that light in to see in the dark, right? Or low light conditions. But make no mistake, they can see perfectly well in normal light. And even if there's bright light, their pupils will just dilate and just come down really small. They have amazing vision. So there's no doubt in always. The people look at it and say, "Oh shoot, it blind. I forget it blind in the day." Huh?
Maybe the whole wise thing comes from, he sees everything because he's big eyes.
Yeah. Part of that is that look, and always seem to be observing and learning and almost piercing your soul. Sort of thing is like, I'm looking into you. You can't fool me.
There's this Gen Z statement that says the vibes are immaculate. So that's just to tell you like how much vibes are important, how much aura is important. Because as we just learned, the owl isn't that smart, but we think that they are. And it's because the whole vibe, the whole aura is giving off as smart.
Here's what I always tell people. Fake it until you make it. All right? So even if you're not too bright, act bright. And maybe one day it will catch up. It will catch up. At least people wouldn't disrespect you for being intellectually challenged. All right? So you have to, I have to be very careful. I was told that I need to become more savvy with my words and because of political correctness. So, you don't say someone is, and say, hey, that dress ugly, No, it's aesthetically challenging.
It's not your dance, you're just intellectually challenged.
Intellectually challenged. You're not short, you're vertically challenged. So the challenge, it's a challenge, that gives you hope also that challenge you might win. You could overcome, but if you're a full-grown midget, it's not much overcome right there, You are, and you've reached. You've never heard that term, a full-grown midget? Oh, it's one of my favorite terms for lots of my volunteers.
No, I've never heard it.
Really?
No, please.
Don't worry, it'll catch up to you. It'll catch up to you. Yeah, the phrases will catch up to you. Yeah, so I have a lot of, most of our volunteers are young ladies, and they do share the commonality of a challenged height or lack thereof. So I find myself a lot of time, okay, put up that sign, and then you look at me like,
so his volunteers that are watching, those are fighting words, okay? Those are some fighting words.
Yeah, they can fight, but if you want to fight, you have to jump on a stool to look me in the eye. We definitely can't see eye to eye on that.
Oh boy. No.
I am on your side. I support you. Fighting words.
Before your volunteers see this and they fight you when you get back, we are going to wrap up this morning. And I actually love the name that Jada gave to our little friend here, Pia, from Canoe Pia.
Yeah.
So I hope he keeps it. Although Pia is a female name and this is a male owl.
This is 2025. That's all I can say. Because I'm getting in a lot of trouble with names and so on now. And it's like, when the person shows up, I see it on the volunteer thing, and like, oh, good, we get another guy.
And it's a girl.
Alex? Yeah. Like short for Alexandra? Okay, all right, there we go. So we do have a shortage. There's a song, man shortage. Yeah, man shortage. Manpower. And it's a silly thing. The guy's always like, wow, there are lots of lovely, intelligent ladies in the organization. Yeah, but you wouldn't join and participate. Okay? Instead of conserving, you'd rather go and be killing.
Yeah.
All right? Maybe you should switch from being a hunter, killer, to conservator. And your fortunes in life may change. Okay? You may get a more caring, loving person next to you that can define your future and your family and so on. There's a whole lot to it. It's not just a little thing, it works, it's all connections.
Ripple effects.
Yeah.
All connections. So,
wise words from Mr. Mead. Well, then we can call him Nupia.
Yeah, okay.
Nupia. Okay.
Nupia.
Do you like that one better?
Yeah.
No answer.
Nupia.
Yeah.
Nupia.
Yeah. So we'll get him a new pair of glasses, and then he'll definitely be a spectacle now. Right? But you know what? I've seen that stuff that you ladies use, your Snapchat-y thingy, and you put glasses and so on and stuff. Yeah.
Maybe filters.
Yes. I don't understand why a lovely young lady would want to put on cat ears and a dog nose and so on. Not my cup of tea, but hey, you as a dog?
I don't think that's is that still a thing? I don't think it's a thing.
Oh, it still is. Or just put it on somebody else's skin instead of yours. That's the thing, Be you, love you, Love the animals, love life, and enjoy your existence, you know. Be a better you, but you don't have to do those sort of things. You know, we always strive to be better each and every day. Get up on your day and strive to be a better you and make this world a better place.
Indeed. So it's amazing to have you on again for Wild Wednesday, Mr. Mead. And Janupia, thanks for coming on, darling.
I don't want to hold you. There we go. We got a face there. We got a little face. We got a little face. We got a little face. Taking off yet? There we go.
Ah, there you go. So, Mr. Mead, can you do us the honor this morning of leaving us with a quote?
You know, you guys keep surprising me with this quote, you know.
I think you have to expect it now. Like
All
when
right,
you
so
come,
now,
we do
so
this.
I'm gonna prepare, you know, and I'm gonna come with some long quotes. I'll take like 4 minutes to exit, and you bump will be going and so on. Like,
no reason to
all right.
do
So
that.
since we have an owl here, and we know the sound the owl makes, right? Right. So it's quite simple today. To who much is given, much is expected. All right? That quote once again. To who, actually it's whom, much is given, much is expected. Trinis, you all were given a lot. We have a lot in this country. I expect better from you. You need to expect better from yourselves and each other. Let's make this place beautiful, wonderful, and the happy nation that we all deserve it to be.
And if you aren't going to love the animal, stay away from it. Stay away from the animal, okay? Stay away.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Let it be wild and you be a human. Yeah?
All right, guys. So thank you, Mr. Mead, for joining us on the program once again. Every week he makes the effort, and we appreciate it so much.
Nubia is ready to fly.
Yes. So just remember, you can engage with us
on WESN TV, on Facebook, WESNCC on YouTube, or you can WhatsApp us at 682-9376, 682-9376 to leave your comments, support, suggestions, anything. You want to just tell us, hey, you look real good. Message us on the WhatsApp.
And I just want to give a special mention. One of our viewers, Rishi Ramdani, he requested an interview, or that we do a show on scoliosis to bring awareness, and that, well, June is Scoliosis Awareness Month. So we are working on that. We're actually supposed to have somebody from a scoliosis organization coming on this morning, but unfortunately that did not happen.
And we will continue to get it done. Most likely it'll be next week, so stay tuned for that.
Yes, we're working on it. Yeah. All right. So as always, stay safe, guys. Stay inspired, stay informed, stay wild, and don't go too far, because we have Sean Michael Small coming up on the hour, 8 o'clock, with Talking Point. So
bye-bye.
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 WESN.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website, www.fanzonett.com.